Why is Morocco not part of Europe, yet it is just 14 kilometers from Spain? Welcome to the news end. Thank you for tuning in to listen. Spain has two cities, Ceuta and Melilla, that are located within Morocco's geographic boundaries, that is in Africa. Should Spain ask for membership in the African Union as a result? A similar case might be made for France, which still controls the island of Mayotte off the coast of East Africa, as well as Reunion, which is further away but still linked to the African continent. In the Americas, France also controls Martinique, Guadeloupe, French, Guyana, and Saint Pierre and Miquelon. Should France be allowed to become a member of the Organization of American States, OAS? Assume that due to its proximity to Europe, Morocco was recognized as a European country. Then there is Mauritania. It is, after all, bordered by Morocco. If a 14-kilometer distance may be regarded as meaningless, then geographic continuity can be considered even more so. We could go on. Senegal will be considered European because it borders Mauritania, and Mauritania will be considered European because it borders Morocco, and so on until we reach Africa's southernmost tip, where the entire continent will be considered European. Or since Alaska is only a few kilometers from Siberia, why isn't it considered an Asian country? And because Alaska is adjacent to Canada, the latter would be Asian as well. Then the majority of the United States will be Asian as well, until we reach the southernmost point of South America, at which point the entire American continent will be Asian. However, because Asia and Europe are just two demographically based designations for a single physical mass, the Eurasian country would include not only the African continent, but also the entire American continent. This would be completely ridiculous. The land masses will commonly referred to as continents are physically defined by their coastal contours, with the exception, as I previously stated, of the traditional division between Europe and Asia, which is largely based on history. The border has never been crystal clear. Some consider the Ural Mountains to be the border, while some consider the Ob-Tubal River Basin to be the border to the east. The limits to the southeast are even more blurred. Nonetheless, the contours of the African continent have always been evident, and Morocco had always been plainly inside these contours. It makes no sense to consider Morocco a European country, whether you like it or not. So, what is the point? Is being labeled as European a step up in status? Is it a demotion or to be referred to African? Morocco is an African country, not a European one. New Mexico, is not part of Mexico. This part is proximity. There must be a line or a border someplace, which is often determined only by men. The Mediterranean is a natural border that separates Africa and Europe. The European-African boundary must run someplace. If all countries bordering European countries are considered European, then the next countries bordering them, in this case, Algeria and Mauritania, should be considered European as well, because they are now bordering European countries and so on, until all countries of the world are considered European. This article is compiled. Okay. Well, I think this person is trying to prove a point, but I don't know what exactly. I don't even think he fully communicated his point. People are asking a lot of questions here. So why is Spain North Africa is 14 kilometers from Morocco? The question that I would like to have an answer to myself. If you want to be a European, don't invite us. Just go on a boat and row yourself to France and become a European. Europe is Europe, Africa is Africa, and never the twain meet. Okay. You asked a question and you are debating within yourself. Exactly. He's debating within himself, indeed. And still in Africa, genius, you give us the reason, but you're still asking the question. You're a bit dim. The same reason Spanish is not part of Africa. Ask yourself why Benin Republic is not in Nigeria. Why is Zambia not in Malawi when there is just a thin line separating the two countries? No need of explaining. It is as open as the nose on your face. You know the boundaries of Africa. But why should people be too brutal? I think it's trying to prove a point here where, that this country is that country and that country is this country, no matter their border or whatever. But like na this kind of thing, they cause fight too. Yes, na this kind of thing they cause fight, because tomorrow, at the end of the day now, they might come and say, oh, this one is 14 kilometers, this one is 10 kilometers, therefore it is our own. Before you know it, Wahala has burst, Yawa has gas. But well, at the end of the day, Europe is Europe, Africa is Africa. You cannot take that away, no matter how you look at it from, no matter how you try to turn it from. And why should it be part of Africa when it's on the African continent? Another question that I would like to find an answer to. Like I earlier said, it is Europe is Europe and African is African. The article itself, it's trying to, it's trying to contradict itself. You're asking a question and you yourself, you're having a debate within yourself. It's a beautiful article, but it would have been better if the information that it was trying to clear was passed clearly, But now you are kind of struggling to, okay, what point did he write the article for? Did he write the article because, he wants people to know that this is their borders, or what exactly did he write the article from? Okay, all one can say is, I think all one should say is that, but I would like to find out why some countries that are so close to themselves, yes, they're not referred to as countries, like they're not merged into that particular country. As in, the closeness is just very, very. There is closeness that it is too close, and yet they are not. The closeness that how am I going to put it now? That are just too much, and yes, they are not. They did not even merge them together. Like I said, I have questions. Some people have questions. Who will now answer the question now? This one that I have questions, and you people. You also have questions. Hopefully, maybe the writer will finish this up and really tell us why exactly this writer came up. Okay, on this note, we have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. Until I come here next time, enjoy the rest of your day.